Hello and welcome to Merlin's Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, new LEGO Ideas entries and general industry news from time to time as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. Let's get started as always with BlueBrixx, as we are talking about sets in alphabetical order. And here we have a couple of announcements, a couple of locomotives actually. We have first of all the locomotive BR101 in white red, I think. In white and red, BlueBrixx made a small typo in here, but anyhow, the BR101, that is a German electric locomotive, actually been built by Adtranz in between the mid-90s until the end 90s. I think they made 145 of these bad boys, and they are being used in Germany by National Railway to this day. The model from BlueBrixx will have 609 pieces, so this is a 6-stud train as far as I can tell, and we are talking about the 106624. So BlueBrixx has made several of these in the past, different color schemes, different variants, so this is not really a new thing. So for instance, here we have a gray one, the 105661, as ZTP is showing here down below, so not really new thing. This white and red coloring is what is called over here in Germany the intercity line of trains. Yeah, I guess the name already says what these are for. Anyhow, let's move forward. Here we are now moving to class 66. So that is a British locomotive that is, however, also being used in continental Europe for transport, basically. So this is the class 66 heavy diesel locomotive. We're talking about the 106623 from BlueBrixx. This thing will have 790 pieces. However, as far as I can tell, yes, this is also a 6-stud train. It's just slightly bigger and needs a few more bricks. Especially, I mean, if you look here on the side, you can see that, yeah, it's simply a lot more bricks that are needed here, I guess, in order to get the optics that they are looking for. Plus, I think the model is also slightly bigger. It has 6 axles. So yeah, here's a go. Very classic British locomotive. I think they made the first wave at the end 90s until 2008. I think for the British Railway, they made 480 of these. All right, let's move on. Then we have again architecture. The Mainz Cathedral has been announced as part of BlueBrixx initiative around architecture. Again, done by the designer Anton. That is also the designer, yeah, who's doing. I mean, if what you look here at down below, all of these announcements, they're all from the same designer. So BlueBrixx is really extending their architecture series. They have already a ton of sets in there, and it's getting more and more. Basically every week. It's quite astonishing, actually. Anyhow, this thing here, the Mainz Cathedral, by the way, that is a cathedral that is one of the, I guess it's called over here in Germany, one of the Emperor cathedrals, actually together with Speyer Dome and Wormser Dome. And by the way, the German name for this one is here Mainzer Dome. And I think it has been built. I took a note somewhere. I just can't find it. I think end of the 10th century. I think they started building them. And yeah, here we go. This thing here has 1,933 pieces. And it seems to have the same scale, if you will. Or at least, no, not the same scale as the Ulm Church. The same depth and width, which is quite interesting. So the question is BlueBrixx looking for building an entire lineup of these, of let's say famous European or maybe just German churches and cathedrals? That's, I think, the interesting part. Let's see. Anyhow, yeah, here we go. I think it's quite a beautiful design. Pretty small it looks. I mean, if you think about it, there are 1,900 pieces in there. And I mean, if you start counting the studs, it's not that much, actually. It's a pretty small model, but I do believe it looks pretty beautiful. And again, I mean, if they will continue this series, I mean, especially for collectors, this could be quite interesting as well. Anyhow, then let's move on to the 106621. Again, architecture, same designer, Alcatraz is going to be made available by BlueBrixx. This thing will have 1,670 pieces. And yeah, here you go. Another very interesting landmark. I think this is the first time that BlueBrixx goes with the architecture series beyond or above the pond. I think everything else so far has been focused on Europe, like St. Peter's, and I don't know. I mean, it's like we had Greek in there, we had Rome in there, of course, a lot of stuff that is in Germany. So this is the first time I think that they have announced something from the US. And yeah, here we go. I mean, it's Alcatraz, very well known island in the Bay Area. Has been, I think, since the mid of the 19th century. There was a lighthouse on there, and later on, of course, it became a very famous prison. I think it was a federal prison, right, between 1934 and 1963. Over the time, it had around roughly 1,500 inhabitants, and of course, folks like Al Capone, etc. I guess that's why it's so well known. I have been on this island as a visitor. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and yeah, it's quite an interesting visit. Anyhow, now from BlueBrixx. Again, this is just an announcement. We don't know the price yet, but I assume that it will come out maybe like six months into the future. Speaking of available, here we have a couple of sets that have been an announcement like forever. I think this thing has been, I think it took them almost a year to get this thing to market. But anyhow, we have another Dutch house facade, the Amstel 2. That's the 104905 from BlueBrixx, and they have 1,309 pieces in there, and they are asking for 50 euros. That again includes tax, makes 3.8 cents a piece, 5.5 cents per gram. And yeah, here we go. I think, if I recall correctly, that right now, out of the entire series, I think they announced like 7 or 8 of these things, and you can put them all together, as you can see here. The only one missing is the large one. That's the smaller ones they now have. So if that is your cup of tea, actually we had on our German website a couple of reviews on these, I think 3 all in all, and yeah, I must say, rather beautiful sets. Anyhow, designed by Matteo. Here you go. And then we have 2 more availabilities. I think I talked already last week about 1 or 2 availabilities out of the series. Quantum Colony, here we now have the landing platform available, the 105177. I think the big spaceship is still missing from the series, but at least I think you can now complete your base. This thing has 1,608 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 80 euros. And I think, is there a picture of the entire base? No, it's just this landing platform, but I think there were a couple of pictures like how they all look together, because what you also now have available is the hangar bay. Out of the Quantum Colony series, we're talking about the 105178, and it seems it's not available anymore. What is going on? Oh, it's already not, okay. Yeah. It was available, it seems, but it's already sold out since I basically put all of these sets together. So my sincere apologies. Anyhow, this thing would have 2,568 pieces that you could buy for 130 euros, makes 5.1 cents a piece. My sincere apologies. Yeah, this sometimes happens when I put all of this stuff together, and yeah, already sold out, but I'm pretty sure it's coming back. So yeah, no time wasted here. Anyhow, let's do a quick research just to double check, and let's go into the BB specials. And here we have Quantum Colony. Hangar Bay already sold out. Very unfortunate, but in general, the only thing missing that they haven't brought to market yet is the Vulture, so the actual spaceship. But you have the control center now, the hangar bay, and as you can see, I mean, they have like these road connectors, and you can put them together if you want with the landing platform. Obviously, you can also combine these, I would say, but however, I don't own these, but BlueBrixx also has, like, I think it's called, Main Base Mars. So I'm pretty sure you could combine these with these old sets that BlueBrixx used to do in the past, at least with, like, I don't know, the fuel container and I guess also the cargo spaceship. You should be able to combine or bring these together. Anyhow, let's move forward to another availability, which I think is interesting to some. The Small Locomotive Performance Group 3, also from German Railways, 105226. This is, I think, yeah, this is the 8-stud version. I think they had like a 6-stud version forever. It has 479 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 27 euros. Also, as always, I bring like every week an old set that they are making available again. So this is the 102890. So that is a set from 2019. Hasn't been available for more than a year, now back in stock. BlueBrixx is asking for these 788 pieces of the classic tram with a trailer, and they're asking for 37 euros. And I must say, I put this one into this week collection because I think it's a pretty beautiful tram. Haven't seen one of those in a while, but it's great to have this as a set, I think. Great design. Just looks beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, let's move on to LEGO, where we have the A-frame cabin available, announced, the LEGO Ideas set. We are talking about the 21338. It has 2,082 pieces, and it's $180 US, and that makes 8.6 cents a piece. And I must say, very well done, LEGO. I mean, in general, if we go back to the original Ideas entry, I preferred these trees, which I would like to call evergreens, because this is how the shape looks like. However, it's technically not evergreen, so I'm not 1% sure what these original trees were supposed to be, especially the green one, which really looks like an evergreen. But anyhow, BlueBrixx has LEGO went for a slightly smaller cabin, I would say. Also the base down here below, so they have 3 lines of hammers or had in the original design. LEGO went just for 2. And the original design didn't have a back wall, which LEGO actually did, the LEGO team. And of course, as always, no tiles on the inside, typical LEGO style. That this thing looks a lot cleaner was actually in the original Ideas entry a bit of a fake, right? They were just regular tiles. The designer just went for just putting them on, not like entirely accurate. And as a result, you had this like weathered look of wood, which actually I guess is something you could do with this set as well, but technically that had nothing to do with the brick system itself. Like I said, they are using Thor's hammer here down below, which is an amazing building technique. But like I said, just 2 lines instead of 3. I think, yeah, the entire building looks a little bit smaller. At least that is how it looks. Sometimes this could be a bit confusing, like the angle of the pictures, etc. We had the same thing with the medieval blacksmiths back in the day, which also looked, if you looked at the pictures, a lot smaller, but when you started counting studs, it actually wasn't. But anyhow, this thing looks a bit smaller, but like I said, very well done, beautiful design. I'm not 1% sure if I do like the trees. For me, they are a bit like too thin, I would say. However, I mean, they have like sand green limb elements in here, which is amazing. They have olive green leaves, so amazing pieces in there. Not seen that often. Couple of minifigures, including dual mold legs, which is amazing. And like I said, they have a back wall, so that of course was a lot of additional pieces. They have also, I think in the original design, the roof was attached with something like hinges, if I recall correctly. This is not the case here. This is more like the same mechanism that we had in the Ideas blacksmiths. So I think the roofs can simply be removed on both sides, I guess, based on what I can see here, which is amazing. And like I said, of course, LEGO style floors are not tiled, not even the ground floor. That is a bit unfortunately, that is what LEGO is usually doing. What you can also see here is that they have these Technic pins. So what you can do, and I think we see this on this picture here, these 2 side elements with the trees, you can also remove them and make like your own, I don't know, woodshed. Your own tiny forest out of this. But yeah, I'm still astonished, by the way, by the color schemes of the limb elements and the leaves. This is just amazing. You don't see these in these amazing colors from LEGO that often. You have a canoe in there as well. And of course, your minifigures, 2 of them with dual molded legs and a lot of small animals. So all in all, I think it is a great set. Definitely want to build it. So looking forward to this one. All right, let's move forward to Mork. This is also, I think, a design a lot of folks have been looking forward for. This is the 10206, which has now gotten available in China. One of my Chinese partners has them in stock now. And this is, I think, the first set that is a legit design of YellowBox 777. Amazing designer out there. Great stuff. However, as far as I can tell, I'm not sure if I know many more any designer that has which designs have been copied that much and kind of stolen, if you will, by a lot of different manufacturers. So a lot of very famous sets out of China are based on the designs of YellowBox. And however, I think this is the first time he has licensed a set out to a design out to a manufacturer. Anyhow, this thing has 3,784 pieces, so that's a lot actually, 38 centimeters in height, and it costs in China $128. As always, will depend on where you live, shipping, etc. I think the price that I usually use here is into shipping and tax and everything into Central Europe. And yeah, it's a museum. Beautiful design. Let's see how the piece quality is going to be, especially windows. In my experience, or glasses are not really the strong side of Mork sets with, I think, Xingbao pieces in there. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Personally, I think it is a pretty beautiful design. So let's move on to TaiGaoLe. Here we have two Technic sets that have been announced by European shops, in this case BlueBrixx, that they will get in stock the T3048. That is a Technic set. I do not know the scale, but it's a pretty small one. It has 619 pieces, 28 centimeters. Is that not that small? And it's a pullback Technic, red sports car, looks a bit like a Ferrari, but it comes without a license deal. And then we have, actually, BlueBrixx just translated the name into red and blue sports car. Ignore the names, we're talking about the T5038. It is a 1x10, so it's a lot bigger actually, scale Technic car. And it has 2,289 pieces. All right, I think, no, we have two more sets for this week. And this is, again, sets where I do not have availability or even a shop entry yet. It has been announced or leaked or whatever you may call it, again, by a German shop. But these are two new architecture sets by Wange. First of all, we have the Confucius Temple in Nanjing, China, 5241. It will have 966 pieces. It's roughly like 40 by 40 by 40 centimeters. And yeah, it's a typical architecture set by Wange. I'm actually not that familiar with that temple, but I think it is a rather beautiful design, I must say. Typically, Wange, for those of you who don't know, usually means no stickers, also not that many prints, but for instance, always these plaques down here, these golden ones with the QR code and everything, they are usually a pet printed. I'm not so sure about the black sign here on top. I guess they are, but I have not built that many Wange sets yet. What I think a lot of folks, especially in the Western world, will be even more curious about is the Guggenheim Museum from New York. We're talking about the 5242. It has 902 pieces. And yeah, here we go. Guggenheim Museum. I think LEGO did one of those several years ago. However, LEGO, if I recall correctly, did not represent the entire building, just, let's say, in quotes, the beautiful part. Anyhow, Wange decided to go for the whole thing. And yeah, same thing. Typical Wange architecture set. Really like it. Looks rather nice, I must say. All right, that was set updates and announcements for this week. Let's move on to our next category or chapter, MOCs of the week. And I think here I have a couple of these actually this week. Usually MOCs of the week means I will take a look at Rebrickable, what has been uploaded in the last couple of days, and then I want to talk about it. So this is what is called the Police Station and Donut Shop. This is basically an extension to LEGO's Police Station modular. I think that is the modular from 2 years ago, right? Jazz Lab, Boutique Hotel, and before that we had the Police Station, and here Leslie Lee is making the proposal of basically extending it to the left and the right, as you can see. So both the green part as well as the purple part, the donut shop, have been extended. For that, you have to add 1,605 pieces to the set, and he's asking for $10. And I must say, it looks amazing, doesn't it? I'm a big fan of the design. I think there's even an interior picture of the donut shop. So this is now a shop, right? Got a lot bigger, and as a result, I think a lot more interesting. However, you have to add a lot of additional pieces. But now it becomes, of course, much bigger and more interesting, I do believe. With that, we are moving on to another amazing design, a house with an attic by LEGO Profi. LEGO Profi. I guess that is a person from the German area. Profi is like German for like a short for German's version of professional, I guess. So it's a LEGO professional. Anyhow, I think that's his or her first design. No, that was wrong. I want to go on LEGO Profi. No, there was also a detailed war section before that. Anyhow, house with an attic. 4,550 pieces and $15 for that. And actually, if you look at the pictures, there are no interior pictures. So it may even be that you just need the 4,500 pieces just to get the walls done, because there's no interior. And the reason, as you can see, is, and this is why I wanted to bring this or talk about it, it's just an amazing building techniques to make the walls. I mean, I guess this is not for everyone, because it is extremely detailed and rough at the same time, and yeah, it's not like a sleek design, right? Like by design, but very interesting building technique. I'm not sure if I would do it personally at this scale, but I think it is an interesting idea to go for this one. Also for the roof, right? Just using 1 by 1 2/3 slopes is also interesting from as an idea. So maybe it's a bit over the top, but for sure something to think about, and it looks really, really beautiful. I'm a big fan of this design. And yeah, here we go. Very detailed walls. It's like the mother of all detailed walls. And by the way, this could also be the reason why actually all of these buildings techniques, LEGO Profi has also uploaded this thing here, which is actually free of charge. And I guess it's just to give you an idea how he or she is doing these wall sections. And as you can see, it's basically a combination of modified tiles with 1 studs, 1 by 1 round plates, and then just regular plates, and a wild combination of these. But in a nutshell, you need these 3 different kind of pieces, right? You need the modified version with just 1 stud, the round ones, and then regular plates. But technically, as you can see, there's no brick in here. It's just plates. And this is the reason why then you need 4,500 pieces just to get a small building done. Anyhow, let's move on. Speaking of small, Christ Romance, I guess this is how it should be pronounced. Anyhow, amazing designer, basically shipping like Lego mini modulars. Actually, the blog is called Lego Mini Modular Guy.blogspot. Amazing. And I'm such a huge fan of these designs. I mean, look at the mini modular of the Jazz Club, and it's just amazing. I'm basically looking every week what this designer is up to, because I'm just a big fan, especially of the winter variants. I mean, just look at this Winter Village collection. It's amazing. It's actually better than the original, if you ask me. And of course, a lot more space friendly. Designer based on the currency, I guess, is located in the UK. And coming back to what I want to talk about this week, I want to talk about the new A-frame, because as he has said itself, Andrea Latanzio, the designer of the A-frame cabin set, reached out and said, hey, I'm loving your tiny version, and to basically to acknowledge that, that designer decided, okay, let's create another one, a winter version, which I think looks even more beautiful. Big fan of winter. Actually, we have quite a lack of snow over here in Germany this year. So yeah, seeing some snow in brick form is actually very refreshing and highly appreciated. Great design, £2. I guess that's a no-brainer. Let's move on. I just recently watched the Avatar 2 movie, and I was really excited. Great movie. doesn't come very often that a sequel is even better than the original movie. I don't have that very often, but in this case I had. Anyhow, Ryan GC Productions has created an Avatar 2 Kestrel gunship. Mork, 769 pieces, asking for $8 for the manual, and I must say it is a nice design. Really like it. Pretty detailed. So yeah, I think this is in case you want to further extend your LEGO Avatar 2 collection, this might be a Mork for you. And then we have an alternate build out of the 31120. It's called Medieval Tavern. The menu is free of charge by BlueBrixx. Doesn't have a parts list. I guess you don't need this because it's an alternate build. And I must say, I've never been a big fan of the 31120. It's too simplistic. For a child's kit, it's too expensive. And for like grown-up collector, it's too simplistic or too much like a toy. It's like an expensive toy. So I was never a big fan of this specific castle. Love Lion Knight's castle, but not this one. Anyhow, here you have an interesting alternate build with a tavern, 2 floors. And yeah, here you go. I think that designer MyJBrixx. Anyhow, yeah, did great, considering that you also have a lot of, let's say, problematic pieces in there, a lot of panels and stuff that nobody really wants to use, which is also, by the way, one of my criticisms of that set. It's far too many panels, but here you go. I think this Medieval Tavern is a great approach. And then we are moving on to BrickPimp, which is an amazing name, by the way, nickname. Anyhow, BrickPimp, I think I talked last week already of one of his or her MOCs, and here we go. Now we have a Mercedes-Benz Actros 8x4 truck minifigure scale, and I'm just a big, I mean, I don't have a brick city, like I'm more in the like medieval, high fantasy and Star Wars area. That's my personal choice, but if I would build a city, this is the kind of vehicle in the kind of detail that I would like to have in my city. From my point of view, many of, let's say, for instance, traditional Lego city cars are too simple for my personal taste and too small. They're not really, I mean, they're toys. They're not really minifigure scale, but I think this is the right approach here. This is the way. And here we go. BrickPimp has created this Actros for 645 pieces for $5 for this amazing mock of this Mercedes-Benz truck. I'm just loving it. Looks amazing. And then last but not least, we have a common room by Faza01. I think that is actually also from the UK. Faza's first mock, I think, on Rebrickable, 2,994 pieces just for the common room of Gryffindor. And it just looks astonishing and amazing, and it looks exactly, I mean, it's truly minifigure scale. And I think that gives you an idea how big a Hogwarts minifigure scale should be. I mean, there have been mocks out there, right? However, if you even wanted to do an interior of Hogwarts entirely minifigure scale and fully detailed, I think this would be like a lifetime project, and I guess you need an extra house for that. Anyhow, this design here, pretty well done. I love all this coloring here, the mosaic, if you will, with all the 1x1 tiles. Looks amazing. It's Gryffindor, and yeah, great mark for all you potheads out there. Anyhow, let's move on to LEGO Ideas. Here we are, just a quick mentioning. I guess many of you have already read this on other blogs and outlets as well. So the LEGO Ideas test lab has moved into another round and selected the designs. I think they have done this before. So this goes through the LEGO Pick a Brick line, to my knowledge. 9 small designs. I will not go into the detail of all of these. Don't know. We have not yet a date when these will be made available, but my understanding is, yeah, you can basically buy them like tiny sets. And it was, I think, an invite-only challenge, reaching out to the designers, and here you go. Now you have these 9 designs. With that, we're moving on to regular LEGO Ideas entries that made the 10,000 supporters in the current round. So first of all, we have Dr. Zeus and LEGO. I guess the middle one, the Grinch, is the most most well known. But you also have the Cat in the Hat and the Lorax by Dr. Seuss. And here you go, all three basically in the concept of the Harry Potter, what were they called, by Lego. Actually, they are all going end of life, I think this year, or went already end of life beginning of this year, unfortunately, because it was, I think, a very well done series. But anyhow, here you go. That is the proposal to revive this as Lego Idea Set. I must say they are very well designed, and they are actually real life designs, not just in studio, as far as I can tell. These are pictures of real designs. I'm a big fan. Looks great. And then we have a crown. Actually, in my German podcast, I said this is a British crown, just looking at it, but technically it's not. This is the Danish crown, I think. The crown is based. Yeah, I think that's my understanding. It's the Danish crown that is actually exhibited in Rosenborg Castle. Not 1% sure how the Danish pronounce that. Actually not that familiar with the Danish royal line. I mean, Denmark is next to Germany, but nevertheless, I don't know much about it. My apologies. But anyhow, this is a crown, a lot of Pergo pieces. And as you can see, this is again not a studio design. This is a real design. And actually, I think the designer mentioned in here how much time it took to get all the pieces together, which I think, yes, I can understand. I mean, just look at all the diamonds, all the golden pieces. I'm not sure if I would have guessed that you could do this with Lego. There's even pearl gold Richard houses in there. Never seen these before. Anyhow, here you go, a crown and bricks and Lego Ideas. And then you have the Soyuz spacecraft. I think this is minifigure scale. It's pretty large, actually. I'm not sure if in the current time and era, Lego would do a Russian spaceship as a set, but here you go, for all of you spacecraft fans, I guess minifigure scale Soyuz spacecraft. And then let's move forward to another entry, this one by Starbrick SG-1. Actually, the name is the program because it is a Stargate SG-1 embarkation room. And I personally am a big fan, especially if you look at the Stargate itself. So you can, basically like a 2-in-1. So you can close the Stargate, you can open the Stargate. Because this is a real picture, right? This is not coming out of studio. So there was a lot of time and effort went into this. All the minifigures are in here. And if you look, and which I think is quite interesting, how the open Stargate was done. Because it looks really... It looks unbelievable, like in the movie or in the TV series. So I'm not 100% sure how this was done in bricks, but it looks pretty cool. And here you have the entire crew. And all right, let's move on. And then we have Sweet Honey. So for all of you bee and honey fans, by Robert the Seventh, you have this Sweet Honey, the Ideas entry. You have a lot of bee tiles in here. You have like your machinery, how you make and produce honey, and of course the large kit here. I don't know how these things are called. I don't even know how these things are called in German, and for sure don't know how they are called in English. But yeah, this is basically these wooden frames that honey makers use for the bees to have a place to put their honey in. Anyhow, yeah, I think it's actually a very nice set. I would love Lego to do this one, to be honest. Let's see what the chances are. Let's move on to the last entry for this week. The Botanical Garden by Goa Nas made the 10,000 supporters. I actually built once a Botanical Garden, but that was a mock by... Oh, I forgot the designer's name. This was actually a Rickerel mock that was also licensed out to Mold King. So I built the Mold King Botanical Garden. Looked very similar to this design here, however it had only two floors, basically, not three compared to this one. Pretty big design, actually. And yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I would love Lego to do one of those. And I think this is also a very nice design, like the white design. I think this is, I've been once, I think, in Copenhagen. in Göteborg in Swedish. I have been once in a botanic in Sweden. I've once been in a botanical garden, and this looked pretty much like this one. Also, everything was lacquered in white. Very nice design. And with that, we are through with LEGO ideas for this week. As always, I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.